In this part of the infrastructure, the last piece that we are missing is that of partners. Let's try to see which are the partners that are fundamental for our company. We've reached the final stages of the canvas. So we're talking about the infrastructure. Now we need to figure out what the key partners are. We're moving from individual resources to partners. Here is the time to understand if these resources are already within society or if we should look for them outside. In the part about partners, the question is, which partners are fundamental to the success of a company? Being alone is very complicated, so the more we can create partnerships, the easier it will be for us to get to market. For this reason, many companies also come together for communication projects or sales projects because being alone on the market is very difficult. Let's try to see some of the examples that you can evaluate, especially if you are already in the market and therefore have greater visibility and it is easier to find collaborators. One part could be strategic alliances. This is the case of GoPro with Red Bull, where basically Red Bull has always sponsored extreme sporting events and has partnered with GoPro because they clearly have in common a sector of extreme sports enthusiasts. GoPro is the one that is used to shoot these types of extreme stunts. Red Bull instead sponsors such events and therefore always manages to be very visible. Maybe consider a company that is not directly connected with you, but that has the same type of target, because the customer part is fundamental for the canvas. Think about these people, what kind of brand they are looking for, even if it is not directly connected with the sector in which you are. Another type of example could be that of co-opetition, so practically a non-competition, but where you try to collaborate. For example, Amazon has created a marketplace system where it is possible for third parties to sell because they have realized that there is an opportunity in which products are not sold directly by Amazon, but there is a possibility for them to take advantage of this visibility. So even though they should be in direct competition, in truth they collaborate because there is a goal for both, because maybe a small brand wants to be on Amazon and Amazon has no interest in having many individual e-commerce sites competing with it. Surely Amazon also has the option of having more data. So consider that maybe even companies in your sector could be interested in creating something together. This is also often the case in the pharmaceutical industry. Joint venture is one of those words that instead presupposes the creation of a third-party vehicle to do something much bigger. For example, this is the case with the Eurofighter aircraft that is created by collaboration between different types of companies because it has a very expensive development. In some industries, there is this possibility of partnership in the form of joint ventures to create something new. For example, there was a collaboration between Coca-Cola and Nestle, but there are so many other examples of joint ventures. Consider that the joint venture means that something third-party is created. So it's not just an alliance, but it's the creation of an external vehicle in a company. The most common tool is certainly that of buyer, supplier, between those who buy and those who sell. So consider that in the supplier part you are trying to tell just what you need, while among the partners there are the suppliers, there are those who collaborate in the whole part of individual operations. Consider that they can be many, especially if you do a complex business, but it is essential to keep them in mind because once you have them on the canvas, you can understand if you are satisfied with someone, if you want to change them. If you don't write it down, it becomes difficult to even talk about it and discuss it. So consider that this is the most common one, but there can also be other types of opportunities, for example, strategic alliances. In my opinion, even for a small company can be very interesting. There is an example that we can give in Il Sole 24 Ore business school. What are the partners for that school? We see that there is a lot of talk about placing students after the internship. There is the possibility of having this path where there is an internship following, which they hope that people will be placed on the market. Collaborations with companies are essential because without this type of collaboration, it becomes difficult even for 24 Ore business school to find all types of companies that may be looking for certain profiles. In this case, 24 Ore BS, and companies work very closely together. There are many other cases, but this is the first that comes to mind because it is clear that I go within this school to find a single type of job, and if the companies are already part of the market, then surely my value proposition will also be much stronger. A second case could be that of a pharmaceutical company such as Merck. From the point of view of partnerships, they can have different types of opportunities. They can have other relationships within the pharmaceutical branch. They could be part of a joint venture to create a new drug. But there are many opportunities that they can have. For example, also at the buyer-supplier level, if we want to create something very special, we need to have a certain type of relationship because we are in a very sensitive business. We have to be very careful because if we have suppliers who are perhaps not credible, then our whole brand turns out to have problems. So we have to be very careful because even in this case, the production part, so the supply phase and then also the distribution phase is fundamental. A third case could be Slack, which you may have already used. The Slack is a tool that allows you to communicate in a very simple way. It is mainly used by small and medium-sized companies that are looking for a type of alternative to always be connected. Slack needs to have a lot of partnerships at the integration level. So maybe it connects with Google, it connects with Microsoft, because from this point of view, pages are useful because being something that can be connected at an ecosystem level with much more, the more Slack manages to be inside different types of realities, the more useful it will be for those who use it. So as you can see, the partnership part is also very useful for the value proposition. Consider what opportunities are for you. A small recap shows us that we tend to talk about collaborating with someone. We try to understand if these can be suppliers, because, for example, some suppliers then become part of a joint venture, or there are possibilities for strategic alliances where we maybe brainstorm with other types of people and start discussing to understand what the extra opportunities are. The Canvas is always a tool to help in this part of the discussion to arrive at a success of the whole team. So consider that there is also room for discussions because you may be on two different tracks. We try to understand how we can collaborate with third parties, especially in the strategic development part. So understand that defining partnerships is really relevant for us when we feel we are coming to market and we want to become big quickly, because the moment we are sure and we know that we cannot do everything alone, at least we know that we have partners we trust, we understand what are the fundamental activities and those that are not. So this also connects with other parts of the Canvas because it also helps us for the expansion part. Maybe a third-party vehicle creation could be useful to explore something new. You know that big companies tend to start with small cases and then maybe create new lines of business like Facebook.